Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Alicia. In today's video, I wanted to share 8 tips on how to start your fitness journey in 2023 in a way that is sustainable so that you can make being active part of your lifestyle for the long term. The way that this video is structured, we'll first start with mindset tips since those are so important, and then we'll move to the other tips, which I'm calling more practical tips. The first tip in starting your fitness journey in 2023 is determining the daily benefit of being active. And I'm emphasizing daily here because when we typically think of motivation and our drive for being active and exercising, we usually think of outcomes that are long-term. Things like losing weight, improving our health in some way, whether that's improving our blood sugar, our blood pressure, other numerical things. And the issue with that is these long-term benefits, while they are great and exercise will definitely help contribute to those, often long-term motivators like that aren't strong enough to keep us motivated when it comes to making changes day to day. It's going to be difficult for us to make exercise and movement a priority in our day-to-day lives when we don't see the benefit from it until months and years down the line. So when you determine benefits that you'll feel and experience in your day-to-day life, that's going to be much more impactful and much more motivating in order to make exercise a priority. So there are so many daily benefits of exercise that you could experience and you can think about. Things like having improved energy, higher energy levels, things like improved mood, being able to sleep better, being more creative. These are all benefits that you could experience from being active on a regular basis that have tangible effects in your day-to-day life. And this is something that's discussed by Dr. Michelle Segar in the book No Sweat. It's all about the science behind motivation as it comes to physical activity and being fit. So definitely look into this book for more details about this, but she definitely talks a lot about getting clear on the short-term or daily benefits that you experience of physical activity for that reason of staying motivated day to day and being able to make exercise and movement a part of your daily priorities. Identifying the daily benefit of exercise and other health behavior changes is something that I practice myself and I show in my monthly reset videos. So you can check out my last monthly reset videos to see an example of how I do this, which may spark some ideas for yourself. But ultimately, your motivation has to be something that's strong and important to you, not something that someone else wants for you. That's not going to last long or be very motivating in the long term. So remember to make sure that the motivation is something that's personal and relevant to you, and you're identifying benefits of physical activity that you'll experience in your day-to-day life. The next tip to starting your fitness journey in 2023 is connecting physical activity with achieving your most important goals. This is an important mindset shift to make because it's going to be difficult to make physical activity a priority day in and day out, week in and week out, until we see it as something that is essential for fueling our most important goals and activities. When we think about exercise as something that we should do and feels like a chore, it's difficult and not motivating to make it a priority. When you think about being active and exercising as a self-care activity that allows you to rejuvenate, to reduce stress, to really show up and perform at your peak, to be your best self, it's only then that you're able to view activity and exercise as essential and something that you want to prioritize in your life. I like to think about exercise as an essential self-care activity for me. It's my way of reducing stress throughout the week, decompressing from the workday, and something that allows me to be my best and to show up and do my best work. So it's something that is essential and really fuels me to live my best life. And until you're able to think about activity in this way, it's going to continue to be a challenge to make it a priority in your life. And then the next mindset tip is to think broadly about movement and exercise as a whole. A lot of us have a very narrow view and definition of what counts as exercise. This may be working out at the gym, lifting heavy weights, doing really strenuous exercise that causes you to sweat profusely, your breathing is heavy. That's only one narrow view and picture of what exercise is. is. Or you may think of activities that are really challenging to do, that get your heart rate sky high, that leave you out of breath, something like running, for example. But we may be overlooking and discounting a whole world of other activities that would be fantastic to do, that may be enjoyable for you and still give you benefits of being active. I feel like walking is one of the most underrated ways of being active there is. It's something that's accessible to most people, doesn't cost any money outside of having walking shoes. And yeah, it may be tricky depending on the weather, but you can always change up your clothing, to be warm if it's cold right now where you live. But walking is an excellent way to be active on a regular basis. In terms of what counts as exercise, I feel like a lot of people discount the value of doing low impact activities that don't really cause you to sweat necessarily. So things like doing yoga or Pilates from your living room, if you're just streaming it on YouTube, you may not break into a sweat, but doing those activities definitely still have value and count as physical activity, even if you're not out of breath afterwards or you're not dripping sweat when you're done. And I'm curious, what's your biggest challenge when it comes to starting your fitness journey? Let me know down in the comments and we can continue the conversation there. Now getting into the more practical tips. The next tip is to choose an activity that you actually enjoy doing. I'm such a firm believer in this that it's not even funny. There's no way that you're going to be active consistently in a sustainable way for the long term if you dread the activity that you're doing. This may take some experimenting to see what activities you enjoy doing, but it's well worth the time doing that. If you're kind of stumped on where to start with this, it can be helpful to think about what types of activities and ways of moving that you have enjoyed doing in the past. And there are so many different aspects of this. Do you prefer working out by yourself? Do you enjoy having a friend do the activity with you so that you have that social component and you're not doing it alone? Do you like being in groups of people? Do you like to zone out and just listen to your music and not be bothered with anyone else? This can look so many different ways, but if you're able to identify what ways you enjoy being active and also what types of activities you enjoy, whether that's low impact activities, using machines, doing yoga from home, being in a dance class, there are so many options when it comes to being active that with some experimentation, I know that you'll find something that you enjoy and are able to look forward to. One of my favorite yoga instructors here on YouTube, Yoga with Adriene, she always says her little tagline is find what feels good, and that totally applies for this situation as well. You want to find activities that make you feel good. That's going to be naturally reinforcing for you to keep doing over and over again into the future. And it's not going to make working out feel like a chore. The next tip for starting your fitness journey in 2023 is to start with a small amount of time to get started. And I'm serious, no amount of time is too small. You ideally want to avoid the temptation of wanting to go from 0 to 100 when you're first getting started. It may be tempting to do because you're excited, you want to make progress, and you may want to jump from not working out to doing a 45-hour-long workout when you could start with doing 15-20 minutes and getting consistent with that. So consistency over intensity, that's my little tagline for this. It's so important to be able to start small, be consistent, gain that momentum, build the confidence in yourself that you can do this, and make sure that the activity that you're doing is enjoyable before you increase the amount of time and increase the number of days that you're doing it. The next tip for starting your fitness journey is to find opportunities to move in your daily life. Finding opportunities to move in your daily life is important for developing an active lifestyle overall. So a lot of us think of our structured workout times or our dedicated times to being active. That's great, but it's also helpful if you're able to be intentional about identifying ways that you can be active in your day-to-day routine. Whether that's going for a short walk on your lunch breaks or parking farther away day, when you're at the store or at work, or even just as simple as taking the stairs instead of always taking the elevator when you can. I feel that doing this, finding opportunities to move in your daily life, will help reinforce your identity as being an active person and someone who has an active lifestyle. Even if it's not something that you realize, I feel like on a subconscious level, it helps reinforce this identity change that's happening. The idea of habit change, helping you develop a new identity, is something that's discussed in the book Atomic Habits and something that we can go into in another video. But for now, just know that being active in your day-to-day life can help you reinforce the new identity that you're building as an active person. The bottom line is that your activity doesn't need to be restricted and confined to your planned workouts. It's best to get as much activity as you can throughout your day. The next tip for starting your fitness journey in 2023 is creating your game plan, making it super specific and detailed of exactly what you're going to do. So you want to think about what activity you're going to do, for how long you're going to do it, on what days you're going to do it for. If you're doing it with someone else, who is that person going to be? And then also having a backup plan in place, because we know plans are one thing and then reality is another, and you need to account for common challenges that come up. The next tip for starting your fitness journey in 2023 is to create a success range for your goal. I've spoken about before in this video the idea of having a minimum goal, and this is something similar. So when you create a success range for your goal, what you're essentially doing is coming up with a low level of success, a mid level of success, and then a high level of success. Because what often happens with goals is that we either look at them as achieving them or not. It's black and white. We either met the goal or we didn't, which can be really demotivating when you're starting out with being active. So in order to gain momentum and really build your confidence around being active, creating the success range is going to be really helpful. So to make this practical, here's an example. Let's say your ultimate goal, your high level of success, is going to a workout class at the gym, which is an hour long. The other levels of success could look like this. Your low level of success could be on going on a simple 15-minute walk outside instead. Your mid-level of success is somewhere in between there. So your mid-level could be going on a short walk and then doing a 10-minute strength exercise on YouTube. With this, your goal is no longer black or white. The success goal helps you create a backup plan as part of your goals. If your original plan of going to the workout class doesn't come through, you already have a built-in backup plan of 2 other options that you could do to still be active. If you enjoyed this video, I think you'll also enjoy this one where I talk about how to consistently work out at home. I'll have it linked on the screen for you to check out next. If you aren't subscribed already, make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss my new uploads every Wednesday. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll see you in my next one. Stay true to you.